Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra, that's Jarvis, and you guys are our number one fans. How do we know? Because you continue to get us over the hump of 4,300 subscribers now on YouTube. Keep doing that.
Yes.
But also, we appreciate you guys continuing to download us wherever you get your podcast and for rocking with us on Amazon Fire and Roku. It's kind of cool when you actually turn your TV on and you see yourself. Just joking. But seriously, it's
No,
cool
she's
when
not.
we get texts from you guys or DMs or messages telling us that you saw us on Amazon Fire or Roku and that you love the show. So just continue to do that and continue to know that we appreciate you, just like we appreciate the fact that we're going into week five of the NFL season, and having a conversation about a Falcons team that is in a tie for first place with the Bucks and have the potential to go down to Tampa this weekend and take sole possession of first place in the division. None of us can say we actually thought that was going to be the conversation on
Mm-mm.
the way to week five, but here we are. Here we are. And the Falcons are, of course, starting to install that game plan to get ready to potentially take the division lead. So I was kind of thinking about this. Okay, if we're going apples to apples, if such a thing exists with the Falcons and with the Bucks, got some areas where, believe it or not, the Falcons have some advantages. Believe it or not, the Bucks may have some advantages, but also believe it or not, the Falcons may have ways to mitigate wherever the Bucks may have an advantage. So I think when it comes to the Falcons, Jarvis, there are indeed a couple of advantages that we see from them that you and I spoke about even just yesterday.
You know what? To be honest with you, it has to be running the football, right? Because that's what's been working tremendously for them. Even though when Cordell Patterson, going down, going on IR, I'm not too
Mhm.
concerned about that. Even though he's a
Yes,
dynamic player, I
yes.
believe they have two capable guys, or a running
Mhm.
back, or three guys that
Yep.
are capable of filling in that spot and being
Agreed.
productive in that spot. So we got Tyler Algier. The depth chart came out. Tyler Algier is going to be the
Yep.
number one guy. Not
Number
surprised by
one.
that. And then
No.
Caleb Huntley coming in, and then Avery Williams for that really a big change of pace type of guy. So when he
Mhm.
comes in the game, a lot of teams not going to really know what he's going to do because you haven't really
Yes.
seen him that much. So I think that Arthur
Mhm.
Smith is going to come up with a package of plays for Avery to
Yeah.
get him involved in his offense, and I think that's going to be a big advantage for the Atlanta Falcons because Tampa Bay is giving up about 4.6 yards a carry. I mean,
Yes.
most of the time
Yes.
you just want four yards a carry. Hey, that can get you paid as a running back. If you're giving up 4 to 6, that means 4.6. That means you've been
Mhm.
giving up some big plays, and I think that
Yes.
if the Falcons are able to
Me
get some
too.
big plays in the run game, that is going to
Mhm.
help that dude who takes snaps behind Drew Dolan. There we
Yes, yes. And I will give them right. I will give them that as well. I think it's the run game, no question about it. I think that is the skill position where the Falcons have a decided advantage. And then I'm
go.
going to give a slight tip of the hat to the reason they have that advantage, and that's going back to what we've seen progressively improve over the last 4 weeks, and that is winning in the trenches. You and I talked about it
Yes, yes.
last yesterday
Mhm.
and last episode, that it starts and stops with the phenomenal play of Chris Lindstrom. You cannot get to the second level, and you cannot get a cloud of dust if there's not somebody opening up spaces for you to do that. In addition to, of course, great blocking from the tight ends and great blocking from some of the receiver core as well. But yes, agreed that it's your run game, no question, but with a tip of the hat to the guys that get you there. Now, on the other hand, you've got a team in the Bucks that also has admittedly some advantages. We know they may not be looking like the Bucks of old, but they still bring something to the table that is going to be a challenge for Dean Pease, if you will, if that's the area you go in. So I'm curious to know if we, of course, we're the same in terms of where we think the advantage is for the Falcons. What about maybe the disadvantage or the biggest advantage for the Bucks?
You know what? To be honest with you, I think that I think it'll be easy for me to kind of go the whole Tom Brady side because I get it, I understand it. Go,
Mhm.
been there, done that. That's
Sure.
the guy that just done seen every defense you could possibly can. But I have to go to on the other side because
Mhm.
when you think about the Tampa Bay defense, they have a lot of good guys who can rush the passer up front.
Yes, yes.
And this is going to be a big test for this offensive line that we talked about. That was an
Sure.
advantage for them,
That's
but
right.
it's going to be a test right here. We talking
Mhm.
about Vita Vea, you talk about Shaq Barrett, and, those type of guys. And I think that when you have and them guys being really stingy as far as
Yes.
passing the ball, they're probably one of the top teams in the league as far as not
Mhm.
giving up, the big play in the
Mhm.
passing game. So I think that when you put those two things together, guys who can rush the passer and guys who
Mhm.
are really stingy on the
Yeah.
back end of that defense, I think it's gonna be a big test because guess what? Give you this little scenario. If the Falcons aren't able to run the football,
Mm-hmm.
that means Marcus Mariota is going to have to make a play with his arms, and I
Yes.
think that is going to be a problem because I'm still not in a place where I trust that dude to make a play with his arm consistently.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I think that their advantage is still the D line, and it's interesting because, of course, we know, or really their pass rush. We know they don't have Ndamukong Suh anymore, just as an example. So it's
Right.
not quite where it is, and they've been banged up a little bit as well throughout the first part of this season. However, like you said, what they don't do, and we even saw that in the game that they narrowly lost against the Packers. It wasn't like Aaron Rodgers was just marching that offense
Mm-mm.
up and down the field with big pass plays.
Him a
Not
Hall
at
of Famer too.
all. Exactly. But when you right, when you think about how you mitigate that, one of
Right.
the ways that you mitigate it, if let's say the run game is taken away, and if they bring pressure, is Marcus Mariota get the ball out of your hands quickly, whatever that looks like. So if that
Right.
means just a little quick toss, just a little quick toss to your running back out of the backfield, hey, you've got good pass catchers. Tyler Algier, pretty solid in that space, right? And so we're
Right.
starting to see Caleb Huntley uptick and Avery Williams. Hey, you're a specialist at the end of the day. You're a punt return specialist, so you know how to catch a ball, if you will.
No
So I
doubt.
think that might be an area where if you just do that quick toss, or here's a news flash, just go ahead and check it down and keep it moving. You
Right.
don't
There
have
you
to
go.
look for the big play, and just go through your progressions quickly and just make sure that you know that those guys are very, very smart. They've seen it all. And so you can't stare down your first read, your primary top. If it's not there, it's not there. Go to that person. And the final thing I think as well that he can utilize, which I don't know that we've seen him utilize as much as we thought. Either one of two things, Jarvis. Either he can go with seeing a play, break down, and take off. You've got the legs, use them. I don't think we've
Right.
seen that enough out of him. Or in game one, we saw a few more RPOs, and we saw a few more run plays designed for Mariota. Maybe if you pull some of that back in for this particular game, that could work out into your advantage as well.
That's the thing that I think that is going to be the big test for the Atlanta Falcons defensively and offense because, like you mentioned, like Dean Pease is gonna have his issues, and Arthur Smith is definitely going to have to be very creative on offense in order to get that ball moving against that vaunted Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. And that's some of the things that I just have to really keep in mind as we go along through the week, and we'll see as we know that some guys may or may not be coming back off of IR. So the Falcons may have some cavalry coming to help them out to try to get this win and be first in NFC South.
Indeed, indeed. And I love the fact that if they can play with tempo, if the Falcons can play with tempo and take advantage of what Marcus Mariota does best, which is using his legs and also
Yes.
just get a short passing game going, get that ball out of his hands quickly, then the advantage for the Bucks potentially in their pass rush becomes more of a disadvantage. But speaking of an advantage, if you are a Bison faithful, then you got yet another advantage on today. But the question is, did you get it from an authentic place? We'll talk about it on the other side and For the Culture.